Primetime. You've asked for it, and Mike Cullineezy has heeded the call. See what's under the hood of the future tank from Future Tech. Under Amir's hood, we get a little riled up for some behind-the-scenes Yuriko campaign action. And what's the hot new track Frank Klepacki's bringing to Uprising? BattleCast Primetime starts now. You're logged in to BattleCast Primetime. Alongside my fearless companion, Raj Joshi, I'm David Silverman. Raj, you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm just eager to see what's inside the new mailbag and read some of the fan comments we got from last month's survey.
Well, let's reach in now.
We had about 1,000 comments posted during our January survey, and here are some of the ones that are ready for primetime. Great graphics. It was a really cool beginning, and I was delighted by the announcements and the reporters at the beginning who had a lot of enthusiasm.
That's us, buddy.
That's what I'm talking about. The show is awesome. I learned heaps of strats and stuff and doesn't even need any improvements. 10 out of 10. Best one ever. I can't tell you how glad we are that you liked the show.
Unfortunately, Raj, not everyone was like those people, and we did get some good suggestions. Should make a BattleCast 5 into 10 so that people can still see matches from CNC3 and Kane's Wrath, not just only from Red Alert 3. If possible, throw in a few Birth of a Unit categories. Heaps more info on Red Alert 3 Uprising units. They look awesome. To everyone out there who posted, and nearly 1,000 of you did, I want you to know that your comments are heard. And we definitely take your feedback to heart.
Now, because you asked for it, let's dive into the mind of designer Amir Rao for some special insights into the Yuriko campaign for Red Alert 3 Uprising in a special, exclusive edition of Ask a Developer.
I'm Amir Rao, a designer on Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 Uprising. So I've probably done about 10 or 11 Command & Conquer missions for Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars, Red Alert 3, and for Uprising. Designing a single-player mission takes several months. It starts with a high-level fiction design, where we figure out what the principal characters of each faction are, how they're fighting, what they want, and that sort of leads down to the scenario design. We figure out the locations of each of the missions and what the rough objectives are, and we figure out our layouts on paper. From there, we go to First Geo. In First Geo, we're actually using World Builder to get the terrain right. After that, we go to our first scripting and our first AI design, and from there, it's just constant iteration. Red Alert 3 Uprising features a fourth campaign, and this fourth campaign is sort of different than the other campaigns because instead of following the story of a single faction, it follows the story of a single person, in this case, Yuriko Omega. So Yuriko never really got her own commando mission in base game, and she totally deserved one. We wanted to do it right. So we spent a lot of time sort of brainstorming what all the different experimental powers she might have had before she was conscripted into the Imperial Army might be, and that sort of opened up a lot of gameplay options for us. You're dodging out of the way of things, you're trying to use her powers tactically in the right situations, and you're trying to keep this one thing alive. So now that we brought the camera in, we are able to have these really high-fidelity interior environments that are sort of like an homage to previous indoor commando missions. And also, we get to show off a lot of what was in the base game already. Our base game actually has a lot of really high-fidelity models, things like serial numbers written on the side of the terror drone that you can't see. So in the Yuriko missions, the camera is locked very, very close, so you're going to see those details in high fidelity all the time. All right, so enough talk. Let's give you a sneak peek at some of the gameplay of the Yuriko missions. All right, so when playing the Yuriko campaign, you're going to want to have one hand on your mouse and one hand on your 1, 2, and 3, 4 hotkeys. Those activate her different powers. As you can see here, primary attack returns, except for now with more spectacular explosions at the end. So when I get into hairy situations here with Yuriko, I have lots of powers that are available to me. First, I can throw up a shield, which reflects enemy bullets, and then I can also use her Psychic Slam power to pick up enemies and throw them into others. I can even use her Psychic Lure power to sort of take over some of these ninjas, and if I get into a lot of trouble, her base game power returns in the form of a giant burst. So as you can see, we have these high-fidelity environments. Not all of it is just for show. You can actually pick up things in the environment and move them out of the way and keep going with Yuriko. Right now, I'll pick up this bed, and I'll try and kill this ninja with it. And that never stops feeling good, by the way. As you can see, I have this flailing ninja all the way up in the air, and I can throw him and bounce him, and his sword will come off, and all sorts of other neat, exciting things. Doing the encounter design for Yuriko was really fun. It allowed us to get, sort of more gotchas and surprises in. So you could be walking along, and all of a sudden a bunch of ninjas appear out. Luckily, you're well equipped for dealing with ninjas, because oh my God, my burst is on cooldown. So I'll go ahead and pop the shield. So like I said, managing these powers, managing these cooldowns is sort of part of the gameplay. It's much more tactical. Aside from just using a psychic schoolgirl to kill lots of things, you can actually upgrade her and change the way she kills things. You can make her faster or stronger or do more damage, or you can upgrade any of her powers as you go through each of the Yuriko missions. And you can sort of customize and build your own Yuriko. So that's your sneak peek of the Yuriko campaign. I'm Amir Rao with Ask a Developer, and we'll see you later this year in Uprising.
For Red Alert 3 Uprising, the team at EALA wanted to make sure that in addition to the new campaign, units, and Commander's Challenge mode, there was also some new tracks. Let's dial in longtime Red Alert composer Frank Klepacki for a special version of The Firing Squad. Hey Frank, welcome back to BattleCast Primetime.
Hey David, how are you?
I'm doing great. So Frank, let's start out talking about Hell March 3. What sort of reactions have you been getting from the fans about the song?
Oh man, I think the majority of the reaction has to be that everybody thinks it's their favorite version so far, which is pretty awesome. And you know, got to admit, it's definitely the most epic version, considering we got the full live orchestra and choir on that.
I actually noticed you performing the Hell March 3 at a couple of different video game live concerts.
You know, over the years, I've always thought it'd be a cool thing to actually perform it, and you know, what better way to perform it than, you know, completely live with a real orchestra behind you. And
yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you personally, as a fan, seeing the YouTube clips of you up there with, you know, your battle axe looking guitar, I mean, it was awesome.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a blast.
You had actually made 3 different tracks for the Soviets in Uprising, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Which one would you say is your favorite? Choose your favorite child, Frank.
Oh my gosh, I'd probably say it's that first combat track, Perseverance. That one rocks pretty hard, and it gets the adrenaline going. You know, you feel like you're part of the action, and that's what RTS gaming is about for me. I love that rush.
Nice. Frank, thank you so much for talking to us today. Now I think we'll give our fans another special treat, the first exclusive sneak peek of Perseverance by Frank Klepacki.
When we return, APOC gets his 3 minutes of fame, and 10 more people have the honors of being a part of our illustrious BattleCast 5 when BattleCast Primetime continues on Command & Conquer TV.
It was the last days of the USSR. The wolves were at the gates, and Moscow was about to fall. There was only one way for the Soviet nation to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Using a revolutionary yet untested new time travel technology, 3 glorious Soviet patriots journeyed into the past to erase the man most responsible for the scientific superiority of the capitalist pigs, Albert Einstein. In this brave new future, the motherland is now the aggressor, but in their determination to defeat one mortal enemy, they inadvertently spawned a new, far more dangerous adversary, known as the Empire of the Rising Sun.
Unit lost. Building.
Who will be victorious? Only time will tell.
Welcome back to BattleCast Primetime. I'm Raj Joshi, and this is the BattleCast 5. Our first match is an intense allied mirror between Zolranaz and Avilo on Fire Island. Avilo rushes a map with peacekeepers, obliterating Zol's oil derricks and heading for his base. But Avilo has tipped his hand and Zol takes his MCV to the seas and pumps out a wave of riptides, finishing off Avilo's entire rush in seconds. Smelling blood in the water, the riptides make a beeline for Avilo's defenseless base, but his opponent is nowhere to be found. Vindicators make short work of the riptides and both players settle in for a classic allied blitzkrieg. As Apollos rip each other to shreds in the air above, Avilo takes a second stab in his dude swarm. And while they still fall under the might of a few riptides, the peacekeepers manage to take Zol's twin airfields down with them. The sky now belongs to Avilo, but Zol makes a play for the ground, sending a dude swarm of his own, this time with javelin soldiers right into Avilo's base. Avilo's land expansion is reduced to rubble, but Avilo still owns the air and hits his opponents with Vindicator strikes until Zol's MCV goes boom, boom, baby! After that, it's a quick cleanup job for Avilo, bringing an explosive end to a hard-fought match.
Gawain, as the Soviets, dukes it out with main event contender Foxbox as the Empire in the little pregame exhibition on industrial strength. This one starts out with Foxbox's patented Dojo Core Rush versus Dub Bears. Clever garrison techniques secure an oil derrick, and Foxbox inches his way towards Gawain's base. Shinobi stealth bombs his way through the back door and swipes 2,000 credits by infiltrating Gawain's ore refinery. Hiya! Once Foxbox gets a taste of this tactics, he just can't get enough. Maybe it'll be better than his Dojo Core Rush tactic, who knows? But the Shinobis infiltrate the airfields, shipyards, and the Soviet MCV, which gives Foxbox line of sight around Gawain's seaward expansion. The MCV goes down, quickly followed by the rest of the naval base. And when the Soviets' last twin blade comes crashing down, so does the motherland from whence it came.
It's the L versus Pat Garand in a Cold War matchup on Infinity Isle. Both players rapidly expand their forward bases to the map's hotly contested central ridge. Whoever holds the ridge most likely wins the war, so both players carefully prod each other to find weaknesses. It's hammer time! Whoa, whoa, whoa! As the leech beams slowly suck L's Guardians dry and Garand's MCV moves up to the front to supply a little extra firepower with some well-placed base defenses. With no way to hold the ridge, you gotta know when to fold them, and the L retreats back onto his side of the island and starts building up his tank and air spam. But he didn't count on the Soviet satellite barrage, oh no, which makes short work of the Allied airfield and leaves the L's base protected only by ground forces. The Soviets do what they do best and bring the pain on land, obliterating L's MCV and securing a win for the glorious Union.
Prozex as the Soviets versus Joza as the Empire on Cabana Republic. This match is a lesson in city planning, folks. Washington, take note. Joza flips his MCV around for better deployment of his nanocores, while Prozex cranks out a crane to simultaneously build his refineries. After marching his MCV to another ore node, Prozex sells his Konyard Joshi style for the extra cred, which he'll use to get some muscle on the streets. Forces collide at Joza's base, and man, do those players know how to micro. Look at those tank busters burrow to dodge a sickle jump. Twin blades take out everything on the coast, and so Joza assembles an impressive land-based army, which knocks back Prozex's assault forces of APOC, Bullfrogs, and Natasha. Prozex regroups and marches forward, totally unaware of the Shogun battleship moving in on his shores. But Joza doesn't have time to plan his naval assault. A file of APOCs and V4s burst down the front door and start reducing Joza's empire to smoldering rubble. Joza's so preoccupied fending off the attack that he totally forgets about his battleship. In a classic case of missing micro, the battleship wastes an entire minute shooting nothing but walls. What? And that minute is exactly what Prozex needs to level the land in Joza's base. Unfortunately for Prozex, all good things come to an end. As the stock market crashes and as the heroic battleship finally comes to its senses and starts blowing the living crap out of everything in sight. Another battleship back home keeps those APOCs at bay, and so in the end, it's iron curtains and the closing bell for Prozex. Sell.
Dwelf takes on Shadow Terran 2 for this month's second Allied Mirror match on Fire Island. This time, both players go for the PK rush, so it's mutually assured destruction. Each destroys the other barracks and power plants, forcing a retreat for both sides. But instead of moving to the water, Shadow Terran moves his MCV to the front in hopes of securing a forward base. A strategy that just might work if it weren't for Dwelf's huge complement of dudes who make Terran fight for every inch. Dwelf takes the extra time to build up his air support and bombards Terran's tiny forces to smithereens. Finally, a well-placed airstrike takes down Terran's MCV, and it's looking bad for the House Color allies. But Dwelf missed a spot. Oh no! A seaport pumps out riptides, and a hidden barrack supports with an army of infantry, which sneak through Dwelf's abandoned backdoor and annihilate his resource operation. Feeling the rush, Terran Seaport stays active, pumping out anti-air hydrofoils, and as a coup de grace, a Tier 3 aircraft carrier to finish off Dwelf's base. The Armada passes around the southern horn of the island, and Dwelf sends in Vindicators to try and thin the herd. Those hydrofoils should take care of the air assault, but they've left the aircraft carrier all alone. Epic micro-fail. Terran tries to pull the foils back, but it's too late. His only base killer is at the bottom of the ocean. Sensing imminent defeat, Shadow Terran surrenders the match, waving the white flag, a victim of his own sloppy micro.
The 5, brought to you by the ATI Radeon 4870X2, the fastest graphics card alive. Who was your favorite player in this month's BattleCast 5? Head on over to commandandconquer.com and vote for your champion in our online poll. The top 2 will square off in next month's main event.
Continuing the theme of making this your BattleCast Primetime, let's turn our attention now to Mike Colanesi as we check out the future tank in Birth of a Unit.
Hi, I'm Mike Colanesi, one of the art directors on Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 Uprising, back with a new unit, the Allied Feature Tank. The purpose of this new unit is to give the Allies a big tech up. The bottom half is this basic tank chassis, but the upper half is this cool robotic torso with these big cannon arms. We kind of did a sleek one, a fat one, a really thick one, and it took a little while playing with the unit in game to see what we liked and what read best.
Hi there, I'm Chance Rowe. I modeled the Allied Feature Tech tank for Red Alert 3 Uprising. We start off with a concept, and basically from there we go to a modeling package like Maya or 3D Studio Max. Then we actually go and paint the textures like this. Let's get applied like this. This model took about 5 days from start to finish. I like the fact it's probably more of a robot mech than a tank, and it gives it a little bit of personality.
So we wanted these really cool cannons for his primary weapon, so we came up with this idea for these counter-rotating cylinders that kind of build up energy before he shoots off his little plasma balls of death. Its cool secondary ability is it'll flip back the cannon arms, and it'll do this laser sweep that's very effective against infantry. We really wanted Future Tech to be a little bit different than everybody else and come up with, some new cool sci-fi weapons.
To take an idea into a finished asset like this, I think that's one of the most satisfying things about this job is basically creating something from nothing.
While we try our very best here to capture everything going on in the Command & Conquer realm, sometimes a few key pieces of news fall through the cracks. Here to ensure that nothing critical is missed is our very own personal safety net, Aaron APOC Kaufman.
Hey, what's up, all you Command & Conquerors? This is Aaron APOC Kaufman, your official CNC community manager. Glad to be here on another episode of BattleCast Primetime, and thank you for joining me in APOC's Corner. So let's get right to it. So if you want to get the latest CNC community insight and you don't want to wait for it on the website, you want to know what's going on right now, check out my new Twitter profile at www.twitter.com/EA_APOC. You'll have the CNC community news right at your fingertip. Although I will warn you, you're never going to know when I'm going to the bathroom. User Chaos for You to See has developed the first ever Red Alert 3 map generator. If you're finding World Builder a little tough to use, well, check out this awesome tool. It allows you to create striking, beautiful 1 to 6 player multiplayer maps with just a few easy clicks. Next up, head over to unitedforum.ee and check out their brand new replay system. This amazing Flash widget tool allows you to upload any replay from Red Alert 3 directly onto their forums, and instantly you'll be getting stats you never imagined, and you're probably going to be pretty impressed by it. Fans of Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars, I am proud to announce the team at ISOTX and Derelict Studios are finally releasing one of the most prolific total conversion mods for CNC3 in its history, Mideast Crisis 2. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, after over a year and a half of work, these guys are finally releasing what will be one of the most unprecedented multiplayer mods for CNC3. Fight your way from Jerusalem to Beirut in this Mideast Warfare mod that produces a new gameplay feature to CNC3 called Occupational Warfare. I don't want to spoil it all for you, but head over to isotx.com and check out Mideast Crisis 2. This is the Dark Horse mod for CNC3 that you've been waiting for. Finally, another thing I am proud to announce. The folks at GameReplays.org and UnitedForum.de are about to put on a Red Alert 3 multiplayer tournament for the ages, and you can be involved. Both of these sites are looking for their teams now. So head over to either one, pick your side. There's a lot of prizes, and even more importantly, there's a lot of pride at stake. Leave an opinion or comment about this month's edition of BattleCast Primetime, and I might pick you to win a copy of Red Alert 3 Uprising. Well, I'm Aaron APOC Kaufman, and that's all for APOC's Corner. Every day is Community Day.
Thanks, Aaron, for filling us in and having your hand on the pulse of the community. When we return, Foxbox gets his chance on the main stage. Will he stick it to Psycho XNC? Stay tuned for the answer when BattleCast Primetime continues on Command & Conquer TV.
If you want to conquer the world, you gotta go through me.
Don't get in my way. If you wanted our heroes, Commander, you should have just asked.
This is bloody ridiculous! You cocky little bastard.
Tonight, on the main event, the community has spoken and these two titans will go at it for your amusement. Will Foxbox use his patented Dojo Core rush tactic? Or will he go all shinobi on Psycho XNC's ass? This is the main event.
Before we kick things off, Tiger style, let's welcome in our experts, Jeremy Fiesel and Greg Black. How you guys doing today, gentlemen?
Excellent. Thanks for having us back on.
Feeling good? Great. So guys, we've seen both Foxbox and Psycho XNC before in the BattleCast 5, but this is their first match against each other. What can we expect with this face-off?
Well, you know, Foxbox is really known for these crazy off-the-wall strategies. We could really see anything. I would expect to see the unexpected from Foxbox.
In 3 different BattleCast 5 matches, we've seen Foxbox's Dojo Core rush. Fiesel, you're the expert here. One of them. Sorry. Why don't you break down that mode for us? How's that tactic work? Why is it so effective?
So the Dojo Core Rush inherently is effective in our game just based on how fast you can get those Dojo Cores out there. I get one bear out, I scout my opponent, I see there's, 3, 4, 5 Dojo Cores coming my way. I've all of a sudden got to go really hard anti-infantry in order to counter that. So really, the onus is on the other player, the opponent, to counter that immediately. And if they don't see that coming, then it's really difficult to get away from.
So Greg, you wore the hat as lead multiplayer designer. Is there any counter for this Dojo Rush?
You know, I think Fiesel there sort of summed it up quite nicely. You have to scout it early. You have to be reactive. You know, you want to get some AT infantry out there so they can take out the cores and not get crushed. And you got to counter what's coming out of those dojos. So.
All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at what map they'll be playing on. Greg, it's time to give us some of that sweet, sweet Battleground Recon for casual encounter.
Casual Encounter is a 1v1 map with players starting on opposing islands. Garrisons next to your starting location can be great defense against rushers, but don't let your opponent steal them away from you. Each player also has 2 expansion ore nodes, one just offshore and another on an adjacent island connected by a land bridge. Naval and amphibious units are key here, so don't be afraid to get your feet wet. Protect your economy and stay on the offensive to reduce any battle to just another casual encounter.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for our AMD pick of the match. Greg, what say you? Who's going to take it home?
Gotta give it to Foxbox. He's one of my favorite Empire players. I'd really like to see him win this one.
All right. Jeremy, you went for the home team last time and didn't go so well for you. You gonna change it up this time?
I've been a Soviet player since the beginning. I absolutely love the Soviet mechanics and all of their units. I think they have some of the coolest stuff in the game, so I'm going for Psycho.
Why, thank you.
Raj, I'm not sure why I even bother asking you every time, but I don't want you to feel left out. I know how much you care about this. So what's your take?
Thinking long and hard about this. Psycho Killer XNC. Fox. Better run away.
I totally missed the music reference. That's all right. Well, since he won 2 out of 3 of his BattleCast matches, I'm gonna go for Mr. Dojo. I'm gonna go for Mr. Dojo Core himself, Foxbox. He's gonna make Psycho XNC go Dojoly moly. Watch for it. Here we go. The votes have been cast, and looking at our commandandconquer.com web poll, it sees that the community agrees with us. Although we're split down the middle, so that really doesn't make any sense, but hey, that's what the prompter says. Tonight's matchup is between Foxbox and Psycho XNC on Casual Encounter. Greg, what's going on? Break it down for me. Who's where?
Well, we've got Foxbox playing as Green Japan in the northeast corner, and down in the southwest corner, we've got Psycho XNC playing as Purple Soviets.
Nice. You think we're going to see some Dojo Core Rush action?
Well, we're definitely going to see a Dojo Core.
Oh, there it is.
Pretty standard opener. Who knows where this bad boy's going to go.
There's another one.
That's Power Plant, actually.
Yeah. The lightning bolt, my bad.
All right.
So he hasn't unpacked it yet. That means, he's going across the chasm, and he's built another Dojo Core. It looks like we've got a Dojo Core Rush on our hands.
Some man spam in our future, Jeremy.
So let me ask you this, guys. This guy does Dojo Core Rush after Dojo Core Rush. Don't you think, Psycho XNC is thinking, I think I'm going to get a Dojo Core Rush?
So probably he's already sent his bear out here to his own shoreline so that he can see, and he does in fact see right away that he's got this barracks going up. He's starting to send out a groups of bears, group of conscripts and flak troopers so he can quickly garrison those buildings there, hopefully before his opponent does. And let's see if he gets there. His opponent's matching him with conscripts, just sticking one conscript in the building, one Imperial Warrior takes it out, and looks like Foxbox has been able to take ground dominance over here. He's going to fill up that building.
So we expected the unexpected from the wrong player here. How often do you see Stingrays in this high-level play?
Now, Stingrays can pretty much, four-shot a Harvester? They're really incredibly good at Harvesters. He can use these Stingrays to incredible effect.
Right.
I mean, that base is going bye-bye.
Because all of his opponent's money is put into those 2 Dojo Cores. There's not much he can do to defend at this point. And at the same time, it looks like Psycho has used this opportunity to basically do the exact same thing that his opponent did, expand over to his opponent's second island.
Here comes more Stingrays.
Oh, boy.
I haven't seen those before.
Yeah, and this has just got to be, driving Foxbox crazy, because he really has to deal with this before he can sort of move forward with whatever strategy he wants to pursue.
Can't be defensive or reactionary, really. You have to lead the battle and force your opponent to respond to what you're doing.
So I think to some extent you can be reactionary just because how hard the counters are. If you're scouting well, if you can see the things rolling off the war factory, you can react to them. But by the time stuff's in your base, this could go very poorly, very quickly.
Who do you think's going to win this matchup right here in the south?
I think this one will come a lot down to micro. If the tank busters are properly microed, if the whack-a-mole gets played right, they could easily win. But
he's bringing the MCV in too, which will help him out incredibly. We've seen a lot of players starting to do this. It's an incredible strategy.
Here you go, and you can see everybody's just running away from that MCV because they know it will just run over them, and it has so much hit points that it's going to be really hard to sort of take out.
I mean, it's getting killed.
It's not looking too good for Foxbox. I don't see how he's going to get that thing out of there. And look at that.
So, I mean, he had to push his opponent off of this island. This was really his last-ditch effort, and I think this is GG right here.
No, I don't know. I mean, Foxbox is creative. We could be seeing something interesting coming here, even though
he lost his MCV. He doesn't have the other island. His Dojo Core Rush totally failed. He's been playing defense the whole time. I mean, if I'm Foxbox, I'm already saying, hey, good game.
I'm not saying it's looking good for him, but I wouldn't count him out just yet. I mean, look, he's doing an effective push into the enemy base right now. He's got at least 2 heroic tank busters that I can see.
At the same time, we're seeing that he's bringing in his harvesters and using them offensively. That's interesting.
Yeah, just parking them outside of that barracks and murdering those bears as they come out.
And that same Stingray is still up to its old tricks. It looks like he was able to get out away in time, so good micro for
Super reactors. So this is bad news. Building anything on Psycho's part right now is going to take forever.
Oh, is that Natasha?
She's just tearing apart these tank busters. Even the heroic ones just can't do anything. This is pretty rough. What is Foxbox going to do to get out of this? He's losing harvesters left and right.
He can't build anything. He doesn't have an MCV.
Well, he still has a barracks. That's not super helpful against a Dreadnought. So
with his harvester.
No, come on, that's not happening.
No, you never know.
This soon-to-be heroic harvester maybe will turn the tide of the battle.
Big bully's being taken out by the nerds? Come on, that can't happen.
Now, Greg, I have to ask you, if you were balancing this game, did you ever think that someone would take down a Dreadnought with a harvester?
Specifically a Dreadnought? No, never in a million years. But we did.
There it is, CNC TV first, right there. Dreadnought downed by 2 harvesters.
Here we see the absolute end game come up. There's really nothing he can do to come back at this point.
So it's really
it doesn't matter though. He took out a Dreadnought with harvesters.
Yeah,
you know what? I take that.
The moral victory.
A moral victory.
Yeah.
Well, a nice little tap dance considering your guy's losing, huh?
Shut up.
If we had,
there we go.
GG. With nothing to go against those twin blades, the first game goes to Psycho XNC.
Well, that's all the time we have for you guys tonight. Be sure to tune in next month and don't forget to vote for who you think should be in March's main event. Send us your comments and make your pick at www.commandandconquer.com. And don't forget to BattleCast your next match for sure to be featured here on BattleCast Primetime. For Greg Black, Jeremy Fiesel, and Raj Joshi, I'm David Silverman, and we'll see you on the battlefield. I Tiger Rock.